Welcome to episode 457 of the Recruitment, Marketing and Sales podcast. And today we're talking pipelines and the importance of pipelines, where you might want to start, what you might want to consider for this year, because I don't think things are going to get particularly that much easier this year. So if there's one thing to focus on, it's building that demand so that you're filling your pipeline. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Recruitment, Marketing and Sales podcast. An obsessive focus on marketing and sales is the only way to accelerate your company growth. So listen in now as we share the latest strategies and techniques guaranteed to deliver you more placements and profits. Well, hi there, everyone. This is Denise from the Recruitment, Marketing and Sales podcast. Hope you and yours are well as we move into February. January always goes so quickly, doesn't it? And today I want to talk about pipelines. It's been a topic that we have been going through with our Superfast Circle clients and helping them map out their particular pipelines and the pipelines that have for clients, candidates, current connections, all of the things. And I think it's a really topical area at the moment. The market hasn't got particularly easier. There's lots of things going on around the globe, obviously. And I think there's that importance to actually look at, okay, let's get some real focus and attention on our pipeline, what we need to consider, how we build it, and maybe some tweaks that we need to put into the mix this year that we haven't done in the past. Now, if you're new here, welcome. It's absolutely great to have you. If this is the first time you've found our podcast on iTunes or Spotify, then head over to our website, superfastrecruitment.co.uk, all one word, and /blog. And you can indulge in another 456 podcasts to your heart's content. You can download things. We are in the process of updating our website. So depending when you listen to this podcast, the new bright, shiny website may well be live with lots of great content and downloads and things like that. And if you find this podcast useful, really appreciate it. Give us a shout out on social media, share it with your friends, share it with your other recruiter friends, and we will be eternally grateful. So first of all, as I know you don't need convincing about pipelines. I know for some of you, you were trained in building a pipeline in the past, but maybe it's gone off your radar. So let me just share, first of all, several reasons why it's a good idea to have a pipeline in the first place. And the first thing is obviously having a pipeline is all about predictable revenue. It helps you forecast your future income. And obviously, you can plan your resources effectively. Now, we have just changed our CRM system. So our email marketing system, we've changed to a particular type of software. There's been a few bumps and different things going on at the moment, but it's like anything new. And one of the reasons why we swapped to the system we are now using is because of the pipeline process and management. It actually allowed us to actually create a pipeline within the CRM and the system, because then we could it's very easy when you're having a call with somebody and then you jump on to do a coaching call, then you go and do something else. You know, people can get lost in your system and they aren't followed up and they aren't nurtured in the correct way. So that's why having a pipeline and a defined pipeline process is going to actually help you in predicting your peaks and troughs and what you need to do about it. And also something that we were actually talking with one of our clients this morning, actually, about his pipeline and how he has a team that he appreciates that really the challenge at the moment is volume And though people may have a pipeline, there just ain't enough people in the pipeline. And you might want to just rewind that bit and listen to it again, because this is, I think, an issue for many, many people. The volume of your outreach and the volume of your BD isn't at the level that's going to produce all the results that you want. And remember that once somebody is converted, then your pipeline predictability drops, because the person that had risen to the top that you could then convert is now no longer there. So you have to you can't just fill your pipeline at once. It has to be consistent. The second thing about the benefits of a pipeline is obviously from an optimization point of view. We can all think we have a great pipeline process, but until you start looking at it, measuring in it, and considering what's working and what isn't working, because things change. We've got so much software now that we can access. We've got voice notes, we've got SAP, we've got so many different things that we can do, content that you can share with clients. You can add value from the get-go with potential people that you want to work with and candidates that you want to place, is that looking at your pipeline, if you build out that pipeline, you can actually see where's the bottlenecks, where's the inefficiencies, what things aren't working, what could we add into this pipeline where are people falling off? And we had an email from one of our clients actually a few days ago about, he knew that people were visiting a certain page on his website, but then they weren't going to the next stage. So what did he need to do differently? So if you have a real handle on your pipeline, then that's going to make such a difference for you. Obviously, if you've got a pipeline in place, then you can think about prioritizing the leads and opportunities that come through there, your resource allocation. If you've got say you've got 2 or 3 sectors that you're working in your particular organization, your company, then where do those leads go? Who works them? So all of those things are really useful. And then obviously performance tracking. So it could be, how many people have we got in stage 1 of our pipeline process? How many people have we got in stage 4? Why are people not moving to stage 5? And all of this can help you look at your conversion rate. Because if you're measuring things like this, you can look at your conversion rate and say, okay, so when we started this process in early February 2025, and now we're in October 2025, and we started off at a 20% conversion, and now we're at 35. You can see the difference, and you will have done that because you can see what's working. So this is all about your customer journey management. And it might be that you have a pipeline with candidates as well. So by creating your pipeline, you can see how important it is. If you think about, finally, risk management, it reduces your dependency on one client only. And I know many of you have felt that. It's bitten you in the, wherever it bites you, it's bitten you in the bum or is it bitten you in the leg? When you've been working with a couple of clients, suddenly they aren't recruiting anymore. I think it's really always important to have a pipeline with companies and people in it that you can work with. I just wanted to take a moment to connect with all of you amazing listeners. As you know, our podcast isn't sponsored, and we pour our hearts into bringing you quality content for every single episode. Now, if you've been enjoying the show, I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. You can find me at linkedin.com/Denise Oyston. That's Oyston. Just click that link. Let's connect. And also a quick reminder that sharing our podcast or giving us a shout out on social goes a long way to helping grow our community and getting the message out there to all of the small recruitment companies and staffing companies and search companies that want to do well. Your support does mean the world to us, and it helps us to continue doing what we love. So thanks for being part of the journey. Now let's get back to that show. So what do you need to consider? Now, obviously, we all have different pipelines. We're all going to do different things, but here's a few suggestions for you. So obviously, as a starter, think about your avatar. So that's your ideal client persona. Some people call them ICPs. You can call them whatever you want, but the type of clients that you want, the type of companies that you want, map that out, because those are the people that you want to put in your pipeline. It's very easy to just shove people into a pipeline, but then really, are they the ideal client that we want to work with? Do they have the same values as us? Because if you're putting the wrong people in a pipeline, they're probably not going to convert. And if they do convert, they're going to be terrible clients that really are not ideal for you. So think about your ideal profiles. Think about the common pain points in hiring, in recruitment. Think about content that you'll be able to share with them. Who's the decision maker in the hiring process? So depending on the size of the organization, who are the stakeholders that need to be in your pipeline? How are you going to do that? Now, obviously, there are multiple pipeline building strategies you can use. And here in this particular podcast, I'm thinking about your cold outreach. This is bringing new people in. And of course, you could have a pipeline strategy for your current connections. What do you need to be doing with your current connections? That's probably another podcast. But if you think about your pipeline building, you're doing your cold outreach. If you have not been onto our website and looked at Mastering Cold Outreach, it was a video that I shared from an event that we ran. Go and have a look. I can't remember what number it is off the top of my head, but I will link to it in the show notes. And go and have a look at that, because think about where your client hangs out, and wherever they're hanging out, then you need to hang out there too. So it might be, I think, particularly social media, love it or hate it, Tim, for many of you, is a place to be reaching out, making new connections, and even just using the connections that you have, your tier one connections, is to be connecting with those people. You can buy databases. You can reach out to people by phone. You can drop them a cold email. There are multiple ways that you build your pipeline. And obviously, for many recruiters, I know when I speak to you guys, it's if you can get somebody on the phone and you can get a client meeting, then your conversion rate is pretty good. And I think the thing to remember here as you're building your pipeline this year is you need to put more people into it. Because some people have hiring freezes, some people have used internal recruiters, then you need to cast your net wider. You might need to, if you've always been a local recruiter, you might need to go move into the next county, the next state. So think of all these things as you start to sort of build your pipeline. Obviously, there's your professional networks, there's industry-specific events and conferences. We have one client that does incredibly, over in the US, that does incredibly well by going to conferences. Obviously, you've got referral programs, partnerships. Content will help you with all of these areas because it's a real convincer. And we talked about this before about getting the right clients, but remember about the qualification process. You may have people in your pipeline that aren't quite ready yet. And if you've done much marketing training or sales training, then you've probably heard of the BANT framework. It's really well known and recognized, and it stands for budget, authority, need, and timeline. And it might be that you're talking to someone that isn't quite ready, or they're thinking about hiring, or they're going to build a team, or they've got some hiring coming up in the next quarter. All of these people will be in your pipeline and will be moving along in different ways, at different levels. So it's important to remember that. And of course, understanding, not teaching grandmother to suck eggs here, but understanding hiring cycles, seasonal patterns. In some industries, a lot of hiring takes place in a certain a certain time frame, around different quarters, and think about that for you and how important that is when it comes to, obviously, how you move people through the pipeline. Now, moving people through that pipeline is critical. And this is where a lot of people fall down because they don't think, oh, well, they're not ready to hire yet, so I'll give them a call when they are. No, put them in your pipeline and start nurturing them, start building connection, start talking to them, start sharing some content with them, start tell them you're thinking about them, rather than just saying, oh, well, I'll just leave them till they're ready. Of course, we all know that sometimes people use that as a bit of an excuse not to speak to somebody. So they may well be ready, and you may be able to get them to actually start the process a bit sooner by thinking about, okay, so this person is in my pipeline. What could I do? I could invite them to an event. I could invite them to a webinar. I could send them something through the post. I could reach out to on LinkedIn and connect them with somebody that might be useful for them in their business. So there's all of these different things that obviously that you can do, because this is nurturing and follow up 101. And I often wonder whether we should change that word follow up to nurturing. They're in a pipeline and they're being nurtured, not just followed up, because followed up always makes it about us and converting that person, where that person might need more nurturing. They might need more introduction to you, your service. They might need to see some case studies. All of these things. It's very easy for someone to say, no, I'm not looking at the moment, or we're not thinking of changing supplier, recruiting partner that we work with. Whereas they might just be considering it if they got some different things from you, which is all part of your pipeline process. So I'm sure we're going to come back to this topic several times over the year, because it is pivotal to your business. And this, of course, is marketing's about creating demand. So marketing is a way to help you fill your pipeline. And marketing isn't just, oh, well, we need to get them in the pipeline. Marketing can help convert those people as well, because it's about creating demand, providing case studies, different resources, all of those different things as well. So this is Denise talking all things pipeline today, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoy this podcast and this year you are ready to take your marketing to the next level, then check out Superfast Circle. This is a unique marketing program designed specifically for recruiters and their marketeers. You get access to 2 virtual marketing directors, you get consultancy, you get your hand held through the whole process, training, consulting, and we provide content resources. So go over to superfastrecruitment.co.uk /join and check out what's available.